Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. So, there's a lot of stuff going around Xianyun, if that's the way to pronounce her, but I'll just call her Cloud Retainer. So, the main thing is that everyone, especially myself, we are comparing her to the current units that we have in the game. And this morning I was playing Genshin and I thought, like, why am I even doing that to begin with? There hasn't been one character that came to this game that made me rethink anything or did anything different. I go from point A to point B, meaning I go to a domain, I just want to finish it, get my rewards, kill all the enemies and leave. Now, utility is something far more interesting than DPS for me. We are at a point in Genshin where they are making characters in the game to allow casual players to dish out a ton of damage. So it seems like Hoyoverse has that recipe locked down, but when coming to the supports and sub DPS units, majority of the supports is where you spend a lot of time crafting in a specific way so that it could benefit every other team that you have. Now with Cloud Retainer, I have been comparing her to Kazuha, I've been comparing her to Jean. She doesn't do anything better than what the current characters we have in the game does, and I think that's where I went a bit wrong. Now one thing that we have been overlooking is not just that she provides the damage buff for plunge attack units, but the thing is that what she does is provide a new way of playing a lot of current units that we have in the game, whether we like it or not, but what it stands for the future of Genshin Impact and the way that we build characters. So from this standpoint, Cloud Retainer allows, if not all of the attack scaling, normal attacking characters to dish out a good amount of plunge attack damage. Now why I say normal attack scalers is because majority of the HP scalers, and when I say HP scaling, I don't mean Hu Tao. Hu Tao has a HP to attack conversion, but if we look at a character like Neuvillette, I believe that his plunge attack and his normal attack scales of attack. I might have to go back through that, but I think that's how it works. Now, if you look at the plunge attack damage ratio on a lot of characters, it is very, very high. It's almost 50% higher than the highest strike of a normal attack in the chain of attacks. Attack, attack, attack. I keep saying that. So by having a character like Cloud Retainer, it vastly changes the way that we chain our attacks in this game. So let's take, for example, a character like Hu Tao. If you have C0 Hu Tao, like myself, we usually do a charge attack into a jump, then a charge attack again. If you have a C1 Hu Tao, you do dash charge attacks. Now by having a character like Cloud Retainer, what she provides for Hu Tao is allowing her to do a charge attack into a plunge attack, then into a charge attack. Now we kind of unsure of if the ICD will keep up and if it will keep the hydro element on the enemy, and if it does, it will be pretty good. For a character like Diluc as well, you could do a normal into a elemental skill into a plunge and keep going back and forth like that, if that's the way how it works. Now those are just two examples because we are talking about vaporized damage, but for the rest of the characters in the game, we will have to do a lot of testing and experiments with them to see how it works, but I believe that it will work good. Now let's say a Hu Tao, like the one that I have, does 120,000 to 140,000 charge attack with Furina and Yelan. If I was to incorporate a plunge attack, it might do about similar damage, but then we have to keep in mind that Cloud Retainer will buff the plunge attack as well. So this is what I expect to see when Cloud Retainer drops. I expect to see a lot of talented gamers in the Genshin Impact community. Believe me, there are like Wallenstein, etc. They're going to do some crazy stuff. I'm sure we're going to see Hu Tao doing some plunge attack with over 200,000 damage, and just by seeing those numbers, it's going to persuade a lot of players to pull. Me on the other hand, I'm a kind of mix. I was like really serious, then I'm kind of casual, and I'm kind of serious. I just looking for something fun to do in the game, and it really has me thinking, since when has a DPS loss in any team that I have stopped me from clearing the current content that we have in the game? And I hate to be the one saying this, And I keep saying this, I know the game is easy, but it doesn't give Hoyoverse the right to butcher a character. For example, Dea. Now if I take DPS out of my mind, now what I realize is that majority of the DPS characters in this game, as I said before, they have a locked-in recipe. Do a big amount of damage and keep cycling like that. Navia is a case like this. She has a lot of front-loaded damage. But if you've been maining her for a while and if you feel the same like me, after a bit of time she feels exactly like the same, not what we have before. We're going from point A to point B, repetitive over and over, and it gets boring. Now if I was to add a character like Cloud Retainer now, this would vastly change up the way that I play the game. Firstly, I'm getting a hot waifu. Secondly, I know that she wouldn't have the best swirling capabilities, but the most important thing is that she's going to keep me entertained. And I think that's something that a lot of players overlook. It's being entertained by this game. If it's not the story, we know majority of the events are boring. For example, we got a character like Navia that's doing over 200,000 damage with ease. And the event that we have right now is to go and find treasure. At this time and point in the game where I'm at, there hasn't been a single time where I needed that 200,000 damage unless if I was in the abyss. Another thing that a lot of people overlook is that it feels good to do a big amount of damage. It doesn't feel good to have a character that could do that amount of damage, but it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day with the current content that we have in the game. So this character has a lot of good and a lot of bad, but when it really comes down at the end of the day, she seems to be a character that's going to keep us entertained for a bit. And if we get more characters in the future that maybe they don't have any special plunging stuff, but they have some nice attacking animations with a nice chain, maybe that plunge attack will look really nice and be satisfying at the same time. Now, you know, I would really like to get more into her kit, but I recently just got all my strikes removed from my channel, and I'm really trying not to get any more. So I apologize to all my viewers who like my breakdowns of the kits, but sadly you will have to look at the other content creators that are allowed to do this and, you know, just listen to my opinion about this character without getting more into details. So the positives that we have about this character right now is that she's a waifu, she could bunny hop, sadly she can't fly, and one of the most important things is that she may change the way how we play Genshin and keep us entertained for a bit. And for the person that was telling me that a crane can't group, then what's the excuse for a crane that can't fly? Leave it to us down below what you think about Cloud Retainer. Hit the like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Stars shining really, moon visions in my sight.